Shalom, shalom. We back for another Freestyle Friday. You know, these Freestyle Fridays, I like to try to find videos, man. I'm on a little streak now. Hopefully I don't, get a writer's block and I can't find videos, you know what I'm saying? So Lord willing, I'll be able to keep finding videos. I got two clips that I want to go into today, and then got some precepts. It's your brothers from the hopeful elect, right? We hoping to make our calling and election sure. It's your brother Azrael, your brother Obadiah, your brother Denal, your brother Isaiah. And this is titled Freestyle Friday, The Importance of Deuteronomy 28, right? The importance of Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 is a great chapter, man. If you're in this truth, if you're walking in obedience and in the knowledge, Deuteronomy 28 has changed your life in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And if you've been in this thing for some years, it can get repetitive, right? And sometimes it don't hit the same like when you first heard it because you done said it so many times, you done read it so many times, but it is still a very important chapter, right? In prophecy, right? It's a prophetic chapter. This chapter was used to fulfill prophecy because why? We woke up. The dry bones are no longer dry bones no more, right? The sheep are following the right shepherd now. The people aren't asleep no more, right? We remember ourselves in the land of our captivity all because of Deuteronomy 28, right? So we're going to go over the importance of Deuteronomy 28. Before we do that, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. And that nation is Israel, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me add it to the stage. Let me see if I like this view better. I don't know if I like this view better when I click the link, but we'll see.
Fair use, man. Lil Tony.
Can't hear a word he's saying, by the way.
You can't?
No. I think you got to hit the audio button right there at the bottom of the screen.
I did though.
Try it again.
Nothing. Send it to me. Send it to me.
Hold up.
Lil Tony.
Turn your volume up.
Them braids dope.
Yo, my volume is booming out my house right now. Let me try one more time. Can y'all hear that?
Nothing.
Jeez. I wonder why.
It might be the way you presenting it. If you present the tab instead of the whole window, you might can hear it.
Well, I know what it might be actually, man. Cause this is another. So I'm on Google Chrome, and this is another Google Chrome tab. So I might have to open in Safari. Let me see real quick. Shalom to the brother Welded.
Hey, man, while the brother doing that, man, hey, the brother that's on the screen, he go by Lil Tony, man. That brother, he on the stage now where he's trying to seek the Most High. You starting to see him more talking about the Bible, talking about God and things like that. He actually did a video talking about the music industry and how, when he was finna sign and it kind of went left. So Lord willing, he get guided to this truth, man, because, he almost there look like, he kind of talking to Bryce Crawford. He go around as a Christian. He was talking to a couple of Israelites before on the streets, but, Lord willing, this brother find out who he is, man. I know a couple of his, I heard a few of his songs, man. He from Atlanta, so Lord willing, that brother come around, man.
And his name Lil Tony?
Lil Tony.
Yeah, man, this video I'm about to play, you can definitely tell he finna come into this thing. Lord willing. And the reason why I say that is because he starts talking about a subject. You can tell he kind of pulls back a little bit. You can tell he pulls back a little bit just because of who he's talking to. But yeah, man, I can see him coming into the truth. Let's try it now, man. I got Safari pulled up. Lord willing, this works.
Go ahead and send me the link just in case.
I mean, you should be able to go to the Hopeful Elects page and go to the sent. Go to sent, and it should be there. Lord willing, this works though.
It's muted.
Principalities, rulers, and higher places. And why in the Bible, why does it say that the devil is the highest ruler? Under the devil becomes his pawns.
Now, I don't know where it says that in the Bible, but we're gonna give a brother the benefit of the doubt.
Devil runs it in the spiritual. Who runs it in the physical? I ain't even got to do all that. Just do your own research on who runs it in the physical. And
that boy said, "Do your own research on who runs it in the physical." That's why I said I think this brother might come into the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? He from Atlanta, ain't it? The streets of Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he hardcore. If you guys haven't seen this video, go to this video on Bryce Crawford's podcast. Just look for this brother's face with Lil Tony. Watch his testimony. Because he like the brother Obadiah said, he do got a little testimony on that page.
And we start saying, oh, they running. Who else is rich? And who else is getting to these people like them? Everybody who has influence, they ain't pushing Jesus, right? They ain't pushing Jesus.
Right? He said, who else is rich? Who else got influence like them? Right? Now, the average person that's going to watch this, man, you going to think he's just talking about celebrities that sold their soul. But he kind of makes a little difference, right? He switches gears, right? Because before he said, at the beginning of this, he said, we know who runs everything. If you know, you know. You know, he's not saying it because, you know, if you say their name, they gonna flag you in the video, gonna take it down, you're gonna be called anti-Semitic, all that, right? But then he goes to say, you know, who's rich, you know what I'm saying? And we go to Revelation chapter 2 and 9, and God said his people not supposed to be rich right now, except for they rich in faith, right?
You don't see Jesus on TV. You see sex, money, murder. That's what you see. So why is the people who own everything pushing sex, money, murder?
Right? Letting you know he making a difference. He's putting a difference out there. He said, yeah, you say sex, money, and murder, but there's people paying these people to put that on there. He's blaming the people that's paying. He's saying, why is people paying to promote that? Because if people was paying to promote holiness, people would be holy. Like people would be like, oh, I want that check. I'll be holy. You know what I'm saying? But what he's saying is there's an elite group of people that are running the world, which we know as, you know, Esau. And he's saying, guess what? They running the world and they paying our people to promote sex, money, and murder. He said, why are they doing that?
You say, damn, well, it's a certain group of people who own everything. And anybody who went against it, they died.
That brother finna come into the truth, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Lord willing, that brother come in the truth, man.
Hey, Lord willing.
Everybody who got a little bit of influence and push something opposite than what the people who own everything is pushing, they die. But why is that? Because Jesus is the real way. They're pushing the opposite of Jesus because they believe something other than Jesus. But Jesus is the only way. Praise God. Amen.
Amen. So
Praise God.
Hey, so and I ain't gonna lie, the podcast is kind of cringy when you know that the so-called white boy Bryce, he tries to, you know, use some lingo. He tries to, you know what I'm saying, you know, put some of Tony's lingo into layman's terms for the audience and stuff. It get kind of cringy, right? Because you know, Tony will say something like, and you know, at this time, you know, I was in and out of jail. You know, me and the homies was serving, like, and so Bryce will stop him and be like, so when you say serving, he looks at the camera, you mean like you were selling drugs, right?
Bryce might be the police.
He might be the feds.
Yeah, he might be the police, man.
He might be the feds, man.
It's another interview. I forgot his name. he was interviewing. I think Vlad. Yeah, he the police too. Yeah, them boys.
They say Vlad the feds. They say Adam 22 the feds.
All them boys, man.
Yeah, but it's a good little video, man. It's a good little video. If y'all want to go watch that on the Sabbath day, watch his testimony, y'all can watch it, man. It's something cool to watch. Let me try to pull up the second video. Now, I will say the reason why I pulled this video up is to go with this title, The Importance of Deuteronomy 28, right? If we understood the importance of Deuteronomy 28, money wouldn't move us. People with power wouldn't move us. We would do what God said do no matter what, and we would be better off for it, right? But because we didn't listen to Deuteronomy 28, sex, money, and murder is what we got, right? Lawlessness. Now, this is another part of Deuteronomy 28 that, you know, if we listen to it, it would save us, right? If you don't know this brother, he was in prison. He got out of prison. When he got out of prison, you know, he started making a bunch of videos, what they call rage baiting, right? He make a lot of, he's a contrarian. He make a lot of videos to go against the popular narrative, and he goes viral for it. But he's not going to be the one speaking in this. Somebody clip farmed him, right? So as we watch this, he's going to talk about pretty much divorce in the Black family, and he's also going to talk about marital advice.
Where are the Black men with the recipe for marriage? Because y'all ain't loud enough for me.
We're definitely here. Y'all just don't listen.
If you didn't hear him, he said, where are the Black men with recipes for marriage? Because y'all ain't loud enough. Last time I heard, man, we've done multiple videos. I know we ain't nobody watching us for real, but we've done multiple videos. Brothers that have good marital advice definitely put their voices out there. It's just we live in an evil world, so it's gonna be suppressed, right? Bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. Good is bad and bad is good. But yeah, man, so it seems like all the married men are gatekeeping because nobody's pushing what we say, right? Nobody wants to come to the married person because they understand the married person is going to give them advice that, you know, you might not agree with. But if we stay true to Deuteronomy 28, we stay true to the covenant of the Most High God, a lot of this divorce talk wouldn't even be in case. We would know who we are, and we would know the importance of marriage, and we would know the importance of being tender and delicate with each other, right?
Not teachable. I heard a brother say this recently, that a lot of men want the position that being a husband carries, but don't want the work that is required to actually maintain and flourish in the position. What that means is y'all don't want to be sacrificial. And I get it, because some days I don't want to be sacrificial.
Keep it 100, man. When you become a husband, right? It says, what greater love than this, than a man that will lay down his life for a friend? How much more your family? Also, it says that we have to treat our spouse like Christ treated the church. And we know that Christ sacrificed himself for the church, right? So like what the brother is saying, a lot of sacrifice goes into marriage, but the only way that you would know that if you really understood what Deuteronomy 28 was trying to tell you about your heritage, right? And, you know, Christ came back on the scene to reteach you that, right? That you're going to have sacrifices. But what is wrong with us now is we forgot who we were. We forgot our culture. We forgot what we were supposed to do as a nation of people, as a family. We forgot how to conduct ourselves in marriage. And now, you know, it's up. Everybody got their own opinions. Everybody leaning on their own opinions. Everybody doing what they want to do, and it's not working out. That's because we didn't see the importance of Deuteronomy 28, that warning, right? We didn't see that warning and take heed to it.
But in order for that marriage to work, you have to die to yourself. You are the head, you are the leader, you are the man of the home, and so you are the one that sets the tone, which means you are responsible for the success and or the downfall of that household. Does that mean that the wife has to come and do her part too? 1,000%. But the reason, we're not loud enough, quote unquote, is because the ones that make think pieces for content, for money, for rage baiting, and for views, it's because they're not giving you sound advice.
And the thing about it is, our people, instead of taking sound advice, we love getting our ears tickled, right?
Yeah.
We love eye candy. We love ear candy. We love whatever is sweet to the ears, right? Whatever is sweet to the taste, that's what we love. We don't like eating broccoli, right? We don't like eating carrots, right? We don't like eating those things. It's not fun to eat those things.
No.
But sometimes you have to take that advice that's not fun, that advice that's, not attractive, that advice that, it sounds like it's chastisement. Sometimes you need that though, right? In most cases, you need it, right? What the brother is saying is another part of our downfall is we listen to people that do not know the importance of Deuteronomy 28. They don't know the importance of keeping God's covenant, right? And when you listen to those people, you're gonna be led astray every time. That's that serpent in the wilderness telling you to eat the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? That's that Eve spirit coming and saying, listen to me. That's that serpent saying, God said you would surely die, but this is really what it is. And then you're like, oh, that do make sense. That's what you're talking about, all these podcasts and all these celebrities giving their opinions, right? These celebrities, they get power, they get money, influence, and then out of nowhere, you're listening to them as your spiritual guide and your spiritual coach. Why? Because you say, well, if this got them to where they are, it got to be true. But it's not, brother. It's not, sister. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, that's a good point, man. A lot of people, when it comes to like dating advice, a lot of people don't want to hear at you, especially a lot of these people that got these podcasts. You don't really hear them talking about, you got to keep God's commandments. You got to keep the laws of God. The laws of God are perfect. You don't never hear them saying that. And Cam Newton, man, I be watching. I know Cam Newton. He be playing like he be streaming. He be playing like college football. I think it was 2025 when it first came out, and he said something that really stuck out to me. He was like, man, when it comes to these people that got these dating apps, like they telling you, they giving you advice, but you don't know how they marriage look. Like they telling you on how to be married and how to be a wife, and a lot of times they not married or they not a wife, so they telling you stuff that they ain't never went through. So I mean that's another thing too, man. When you giving advice, you want to make sure that you be able to, tell the people like went through it, man, and be able to tell them your experiences so you can help them. You see what I'm saying? But you got it, King.
Come on, man. People going to therapists and people going to people that they don't know just because they got a degree, right? They don't got a degree in life, but they got a degree from a school, from an organization. Now you put all their trust in them because they're telling you something out of a textbook, but not out of experience, right? Yep. Right here on the side, it says they skip these videos and watch all the toxic podcast bros. Yeah. They want that toxicity, right? It's an addiction, that dopamine rush to hear something crazy, but yet profound. They want to hear that stuff. They don't want to hear the truth though. The truth is boring. But
hey, they love to watch the little pop the balloon.
Right. And hear all the madness and folly advice on Pop the Balloon, right? And you will be surprised, but Pop the Balloon is a reflection of our actual society. These girls actually think like them girls on there. These guys actually think like them guys on there. Like when you talk to this generation in person, they actually think like this, especially in our community, right? We have forgotten who we are as a people, and we've tried to do our best through captivity, but we've come out the other end making up a culture, and the culture is terrible. We should have just listened to God to begin with.
They're not giving you sound advice because, of course, polarizing advice is going to go farther than the sound, wise counsel of men that are in the fight. And it's not really a fight, but in the thick of being in a marriage and trying to make it as successful as possible.
Bro, I can't tell you how many times where it be brothers on the screen talking to a brother that is just getting into marriage, and we saying, bro, watch out for this. Hey, this is gonna happen. When it does, do not freak out. They, nah, it couldn't be me. Nah, we good. Nah, that might be y'all. But and then lo and behold, they venting to you. Now they talking about they didn't see this coming. Now they talking about it came out, and we like, brother, you gotta listen to brothers like this brother said that's in the thick of it, bro.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you gotta listen to brothers. Brothers is not preying on your downfall. They're looking out for you. So have an open ear, and even if you don't believe it, at least listen to them. A lot of times we live in a generation where people not even listening to you. They dismiss you off rip, and then when it happens to them, they act like you never said something.
And I think what it be out, man, I think, you know, a lot of times we grew up, you know, watching a little fairy tale, you know, Disney Channel, how, you know, we see relationships, how everything just goes sweet, and how you watch certain movies, how, you know, the relationship just goes smooth, ain't no problems. And some people watch those cartoons and watch the movies and they think, okay, I ain't gonna go through nothing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, this she perfect. Brother try to look for the perfect, you know, spouse and man, but that's not just the case, man. I mean, you gonna go through stuff. You're gonna have problems in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you get advice, like the brother saying, when you get advice, listen. You know, listen. Don't just, you know, don't ignore the advice because you in the moment right now and you know she can't do no wrong. You're gonna have arguments, you're gonna have disagreements, you're gonna have those things. That's part of it. That's why it's good to get counsel from other brothers that been married before longer than you.
You know, you know when somebody doesn't listen because oftentimes you'll tell them something, and then you know, time will go by, and then you know, they get more into the relationship that they're in, and then their brothers send you a voicemail, a voice message, you know, like, man, what would y'all do if X, Y, and Z, or what y'all think about X, Y, and Z, right? And it's like, dang, brother, I know you wasn't listening because we been went over this, you know what I'm saying, when you first got in a relationship with her. You know what I'm saying? You kind of think that, but you know, we go ahead and tell them the information again, but it's like if brothers would listen the first time, right? Take heed the first time and learn from people's mistakes, just like we learn from people in the Bible, right? The things that are written aforetime are written for our learning. Just like we listen from people's mistakes in the Bible, we know not to do them. Maybe, you know, it'd be beneficial if a lot of people would listen to other men's mistakes, you know what I'm saying, or what other men have went through, you know what I'm saying, if they're going through something similar, especially not too long ago.
Yeah, you know, what it is, it goes back to Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. Your eyes evil towards your brother. So when they're talking to you and trying to give you advice, you think, man, that nigga don't know what he's talking about. Excuse my
Right.
French, but that's what it is. Excuse my French, but that's what's in your mind. As another black man, man, he can't tell me about my girl. That might have been his girl, but I made sure I picked the good girl. Like I don't know what that nigga talking about. So you if you thinking like that when somebody talking to you off rip, you got an evil eye towards your brother. You don't trust your brother. That's why we got to come back to being a community of people, right? We got to become a communal group again, a family, a trustworthy family, so that we can actually listen to each other and take advice from each other. The brother Deshaun Jordan said, when you look at the curses of Deuteronomy 28, it's the dismantling of the black family, right? The Negro family. And that's what we're going over, man. We're going over that because Deuteronomy 28 is important because it gave us a warning of what not to do, right? And the warning was don't, right? The warning was if you don't keep my commandments, you'll be living in 2025. Everything we see in today is because we didn't keep the Lord's commandments, right? and we are now dismantled for it as a nation of people. Let's keep playing this video though.
And the number one thing that y'all don't want to do is die to yourself in order to serve your wife or in order to serve the marriage so that the marriage flourishes. You're much more, I get upset, you're much more concerned about you personally flourishing instead of the marriage flourishing. And to be clear,
right? And so that's why, you know, Christ came on the scene. Hey, it wasn't, I know what Moses told y'all, but from the beginning, hey, it was not so. What God put together, no man supposed to put asunder, no man supposed to cut it in two. If God put that marriage together, that marriage is over your feelings now. That marriage is over the husband. That marriage is over the wife. That marriage is the marriage, then y'all, right? And so we got to come back to being a nation of people, because right now we just put emotions and feelings over everything, man. It's girls left and right talking about I left my husband and my kids not because they did anything wrong, but I'm putting me first. What is that? What is that? We're living in a generation where husbands and wives are getting divorces and starting whole new lives. I mean, just picking up, finding new jobs and moving out the state to put me first. What is that? Right? The put me first spirit is going around, and it's very contagious.
Hey, and another thing too, the brother in the comments mentioned Travis Hunter. One thing that the curses bear witness to is that we, even as a people, man, we don't know how to, you know, I ain't gonna say show compassion, but a lot of times we feed into the curses by even praying on people's downfall. And I'm not saying that people explicitly are praying on Travis Hunter's, because that goes along the lines of what you were saying earlier, Ak, about how sometimes you give people counsel, they don't listen to it, and then boom, when things happen that you counsel them about, they flabbergasted. So people think Travis Hunter is going to be in that position. But another thing too, if we didn't never transgress the laws of God, man, we would never be in positions where people are trying to warn Travis Hunter about, you know, his now wife, because she wouldn't have been in certain situations or settings when they were dating, as the evidence was being revealed, you know, throughout the course of their relationship last year, which forced him to get off social media, you know, which forced her to get off social media. She would have understood that she is betrothed to a man and she cannot be involved with other men in the spaces that she was found being in when they were dating, you know. And some of this evidence could have been before they were dating, but again, just relating it back to the real world, this is exactly why, like the brother said, if we'd have never transgressed the laws of God, Deuteronomy 28:15 on down wouldn't have applied to us. But the fact that we did, now you can clearly see how it applies to us, even in, like you say, the media world, the entertainment world, related it to the brother, you know, who was mentioned in the comments, Travis Hunter, you know, dealing with the curses of having almost, I guess you could say, not having a broken home, but dealing with the curses of just his woman just being in certain, I guess you could say, scenes that she shouldn't have been in, which not only is a reflection of, again, a curse that we don't have love towards our brothers, but also at the same time, it's almost trying to destroy a household, destroy a home before it even gets built up. And we got people praying on that home to kind of collapse down just so that way they could say, I told you so, you know? Bakan, I yield.
You know, and you know, I believe the trap. I believe, you know, at one point I was giving into all the drama with it and gossip, but I believe, you know, I believe that they might be all right. I believe all this stuff is kind of old news, and I believe that, you know, I don't think she's as stupid as people think. But I will say, on the flip side, like the brother said, we are not a family of people no more. Who is it that, you know, is making this situation worse and gossiping and backbiting? None other than Jake, none other than the nation of Israel, right? The Deuteronomy 28 has affected us because we don't care about our brother's feelings no more, our sister's feelings no more. You know, she put out a video of her crying, herself crying, but who's to say that she's not crying because of y'all? She it might not be her husband that's making her cry, or which it might be y'all, the family of Israel that's supposed to be protecting them, right? But instead, brothers is profiting money, gain, profiting off of the backbiting and the gossip and the downfall of another brother. You know what I'm saying? So to speak, so-called downfall, because he may be just fine. I saw that they just had a baby boy and they happy and stuff. They at the beach and stuff. So like all of this backbiting and gossip, we don't know these people's lives for real. And for us to talk about something we don't know and meddle in matters that don't concern us is going against the word of God. And so when we think about the hatred of somebody to go and make t-shirts and hats of another man's wife, dancing on them, that from in the past, that shows you that there is no love in our nation anymore. And that's because we stopped keeping the covenant of God mentioned in Deuteronomy 28.
Facts. Ain't no love, man. I mean, I was younger. It may just be my family. I remember when I was younger, man, I used to have cookouts all the time, family gatherings. But now it's like, we don't do that no more. Right? You don't really be no family gatherings like how it used to be. Like we'll go to somebody auntie house, grandma house, and it'd really be like a cookout vibe. Like the music playing, the kid, we was kids, we was running around playing basketball.
Yeah. My mom, she really hates that too. And I try to let her know it's not just our family, it's everybody.
Facts.
It's everybody. And it's because we live in a generation where I'm putting me first. I'm not going to take time out of my day to orchestrate something, to plan something with a bunch of people that I don't see on a regular basis.
For the family? The family don't even really care about me that much.
Right. And so we done lost all sense of tribalism. We lost all sense of nationalism. We lost all sense of family, man. And it's because we put down the covenant. When we decided to pick up all these wicked holidays and we decided to pick up these wicked religions and these wicked doctrines and manifestation and crystals and all these zodiac signs, when we decided to pick up all the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the Most High God said, you will surely die. And that's what we did as a nation, man, spiritually and physically.
Yeah, man. And a lot of that was what was a catalyst for that was COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? That happened. And then that kind of just, made everything 10 times worse. But even when we do try to do gatherings, they end up being turned for the wrong reasons because of, like the brother Lil Tony was saying at the beginning, man, the people that's pushing the media, they make everything about money, sex, and whatever else he said. And so, like, for instance, trail rides went viral. Trail rides used to be family oriented, right? You used to bring the toddlers and everybody, you know what I'm saying, and everybody could have fun. It was good. I wouldn't say clean music, but it was, you might hear some, Al Green or something out there. And now we've turned trail rides into an outside club, really, where you got folks fighting and shooting. You got girls wearing no clothes. You know what I'm saying? Nobody respecting the animals. And so everything that we seem to put our hands on now as the Israelites in the world, we seem to corrupt. And even if and we know it's not going to get any better, right? But that's just the trajectory of things and the reality of things.
Come, man. That's our nation now because we put down the covenant, right? We did not listen to the warning. I'm gonna play the rest of this video, then we're gonna get into these precepts.
That does not mean you don't get things that you want. I am not saying that, but I am saying that there has to come a priority list. And as the man, as the husband, there is a certain level of sacrifice and sacrificial love you have to be willing to give out in order that your marriage will flourish and be successful. But y'all don't want to do that.
Come, man. Some good things he pointed out there. And that's, not just for your spouse, but that's for the nation as well. you have to learn to sacrifice your feelings and emotions for the nation. Sometimes you don't gotta clap back at a brother or a sister. Sometimes you can, sometimes it's not worth it to be in derision or contention, right? Sometimes it's okay to sacrifice how you feel on something, right, for the greater good. That doesn't make you a coward. That doesn't make you less of a man or a woman, right? That means you care about your nation and you care about your people's feelings, right? That's sacrificial love, as he just stated. Long suffering, patience, temperance.
And then you just start to realize, man, everything ain't worth everything, like you said, everything not worth a response, man. Like a lot of times it just be folly and you just wasting your breath. Like just let it. We got to learn as a nation just to let that person have it. All right, bro, you got it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just for it to be a peaceful, ending instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah. I was on a lesson. I was on a lesson on Wednesday after our class. I was on another brother's lesson, and I put this on my Instagram story because it came up in the lesson. And it was a definition, contrarian, right? I'll read this real quick. A person who opposes or rejects popular opinion, especially in stock exchange dealing, right? It says also opposing or rejecting popular opinion, going against current practice. Now, I put this on my story on Instagram, and a lot of people was like, yeah, that's definitely me. Yeah, I'm so glad I'm in this truth. Yeah, that's definitely me. Men and women blowing up. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really put it up for that. Because I understand you have to be contrary to the lies and deceit for sure. But I was more so talking about once you come into the knowledge of the truth around your brothers and sisters who are also in the truth, like the brother Obadiah was saying, it's not always a benefit to be a contrarian, to always go against the grain, to always argue with your brother. And this is something that I've had to tell myself, and I've had to learn, right? Sometimes it's not worth it just to go back and forth. Sometimes it's okay to just be like, yeah, you make a good point. Even if you don't think the brother made a good point, just say, yeah, you made a good point, right? Sometimes it's okay to make somebody feel good, right, about their line of thinking. It's not, and if it's not life or death, you don't have to, what I'm saying, you don't have to oppose them all the time. You got to pick and choose your battles of opposition, right? Your opposition should be profound. Whenever you do oppose something, it should be profound. So that way people listen to you of why you're opposing something. But if you oppose everything, nobody wants to listen to you. Everybody's like, oh, I expected you to say something. I expected you to not agree, right? So just something to think about, man. When you love your brother and your sister, man, sometimes you're going to hold your lips, right? When you arguing with them.
Thanks.
If a brother could read this, we'll go in order, if we could, on the screen. So
I'll read.
Brother Isaiah, and then Denal, you get the next one, and then Obadiah, you get the next one.
This is Judith 5:18, and it reads, "But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of God, Salakia, and the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies."
Right, I'm reading this because what is this telling us? Right, when you go back and read the context, it's telling us when our nation departed from God, right, and what God told us to do, life was hell.
Thanks.
We were destroyed in many battles, right? Many battles, physically, spiritually, and mentally. We was destroyed in many battles, right? Even if you just go ahead and you read Judith, they were destroyed mentally. They didn't know what they was gonna do. Physically, they were starving to death, right? Spiritually, they had lost faith. They was like, man, Most High might have left us out to dry, right? It says very sore. We were led captives into lands that were not ours. This is what happens when we don't listen to the warning of Deuteronomy 28, right? We are led captives all over the world. You see remnants of us all over the world in different places, called scattered. We've been scattered sheep, right? And the temple of their God was cast to the ground. We don't have a temple. Brothers was speaking after a Sabbath day, talking about, man, the ceremonially clean and unclean laws don't even apply to us right now because we have no temple. Right? What are we being ceremonially clean for? And then I said, you know what, the body's the temple. Then brothers got to scoffing at me when they really was just being contrarians. But it's all good. You feel me? Nah. But like, we don't have a temple because why? We didn't listen to the warning of Deuteronomy 28, right? This is the importance of Deuteronomy 28. It said our cities were taken, right? Brother Denal, if you can read this one.
Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children.
Right, man. The Most High God said he gonna reject us because we rejected what was written in Deuteronomy 28. And now you see how our people living, right? Now you see the state of our relationships, the state of our mental, the state of our financial, the state of our possessions. God's rejected us. This is why it's important to know who we are. Hey, people like, man, why is it important that y'all know y'all Israelites anyway? That's not important. Why is it important to know who Christ was anyway? It's not important. Why is it important to keep the commandments? And because that's our culture. It's a way of life. It was a promise to us. It was a covenant, a contract in blood. We got to remember who we are, because if we don't remember who we are, we don't know that this was written to us. We don't know that we made a contract if we don't know who we are. We don't know that our forefathers and foremothers was under a blood covenant. And then by default, since we don't know, we gonna act like other people. And because we act like other people, we get rejected by God, and we in the situations we are in now. High divorce rates, no happy families, high incarceration, no freedom. Go ahead, Obadiah.
And man, it's like when it comes to other things, like nobody asks the Muslims, hey, why y'all do that? Nobody asks the Christians that why y'all go to church every Sunday? You know, why y'all keep getting finessed out y'all money? Nobody don't ask them that. But when it comes to us, oh, why y'all do this? Why y'all do that? But like the brother saying, man, like this is literally a covenant. This is our life. The same way people love celebrating their birthdays and love celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving. They supposed to have that. They supposed to have that energy for these laws and commandments, because this is our life. You know, you have people saying they leaving, they not Israelites no more. You are Israelite. You know, it's a bloodline, it's a covenant, like the brother said. You got to
go back. Can one go back in their mother's womb? You say you're not an Israelite?
Right.
You go back in your mother's womb? Come on now.
Can a Chinese man not be a Chinese man no more?
Right.
He don't want to.
Right. You know what I'm saying? When they was taking us over here and on cargo ships as slaves, we couldn't tell them, I'm not a Negro. I'm not a Negro.
Right.
We couldn't do that. Guess what? Whether you wanted to be a Negro at that time or not, they were taking all Negroes. And it didn't matter about what you wanted. Same thing with this covenant. Whether you want to agree with this covenant or not, whether you want to agree that you're the people or not, the covenant is made with these people, and these people got to uphold it. Just like we was taken into slavery, we got to keep this covenant, right? So I mean, you know, it go hand in hand. And like the brother said, you know, there's no pushback when a Muslim says it's gotta be halal. You know, then you know everybody is looking for something halal to give that person. Well, I guess we could just do this. Well, it's got to be kosher wine. I can't drink it if it's not kosher wine for the Jewish man. And then they gotta order a whole bunch of kosher wine, during the Hanukkah season, during Passover season, they have literally, I've seen it. There's boxes even of frosted flakes, and it'll say kosher frosted flakes for that season, bruh.
What?
I've seen it. Hold up. It got like a little
Kosher frosted flakes.
it's got like
Great.
It's the third one down.
Tony the Tiger.
it's got something on the box that say
Morning.
Coke on it.
Hey, that box look old.
Let me see.
Look kind of dry. The first box did. It look kind of dry.
Let me
That's
see.
the box I know right there. Dang.
I can't find it, man. I can't find it, but I seen it during Passover season. It was a Jewish person on Instagram, and he was going through some aisles, and he said, "I bet you guys didn't know that during this time, stores are flooded with a bunch of kosher products." And I was just like, "What in the world?" And he was showing like he was showing all different type of foods that was kosher in the store. But anyway, not to get sidetracked. Obadiah, if you could read this next one.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
Right. So the Most High God said he cut us off from a heritage. That's why it's important for Deuteronomy 28. Everybody want a culture and a heritage. Everybody want to cling to something. Everybody want to be known for something. Everybody believes we're so great of a people, but we don't have no heritage. We don't have no heritage. Why? Because we didn't keep the covenant, and the covenant was our heritage. The covenant was like so many things in one. It was like it was a heritage. It was a promise. It was a warning. It was a blessing, right? That the covenant was so much, and we lost it all when we decided to break it. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I done seen a few interviews, man, with brothers and sisters. You know, they on that spiritual tip, you know, worshiping the universe and opening, you know what I'm saying, all that. So I done seen some interviews when they get interviewed and they say, you know, we're not African, right? We're not African. So I'm thinking like, okay, she know who he is. She's like, we know we're not African. The Africans hate us. And then she's like, we're Black American. I'm like, man, come on, man. But that just shows that hey, we don't know who we are, man. You know, we think that, you know, we wake up, a lot of us say we woke. We think, you know, we woke until we still calling ourselves Black Americans and still calling ourselves Moors and things like that. But Moor just means black. So it's like, even if you're a Muslim, you still calling yourself African American as your nationality. Muslim is your religion, or Muslim or Islam is your religion. But the Bible tells us who we are, though. Not no religion. It tells us who we are. But you got it, King.
Con, man. Con. Read verse 5 for me.
Verse 5. Thus says the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, whose heart departeth from the Lord.
Con, man. So, you know, a big reason why we didn't keep Deuteronomy 28 is because we started trusting in man. And why do we start trusting in man? Because man can promise us earthly things. Man can do earthly things for you. Man can help you out. Man can make life easier for you on this side of earth, on the land of the living, right? Man can give you money. Man can, teach you some things. You know, man can give you a little, the deception of power, right? Man can do those things. And we started trusting in that, right? Why? Because life started, getting a little hard, right? Back to the top of the brother Isaiah could read this.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse number 11. And it reads, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we have departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
right? And that's why we trust in man. When we start having sorrow on this earth, we can't think spiritual no more, right? When we start having sorrow on this earth, we lose faith. We start having sorrow on this earth, we forget about a covenant. We want to worry about our right now. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we talk to people on the street. We tell them the good news, the gospel. We tell them who they are. We tell them what they got to do, and they can't. Man, I can't think of how many times people done told us, but what's that gonna do for my situation right now? I need my bills paid tomorrow. I gotta eat today. We talk to the homeless, but what they don't understand is you start keeping these commandments, keep holding your end of the bargain, the covenant. The Most High God said He'll make you the head, not the tail, the lender, not the borrower. But because you so focused on your situation, you so focused on your what right now, right? You missing the point. You making a covenant with the heathen. Now you selling drugs to your people. Now you stealing, you scamming. Now you're signing up to be in somebody else's army, somebody else's police force, right? You making covenant with the heathen because your life sucks. Not knowing that, the only thing that can get you out of your rut it's not the heathen, it's not the drugs, it ain't none of that. It's keeping this covenant because God can get you out your rut, right,
It's
brother?
an easy thing to make a poor man rich for the Lord, man. A lot of people forget that. You know what I'm saying?
Sit and be patient.
All you got to do is do what's required of you, and the Lord will look out for you, right? But you got to be consistent. You got to be long suffering, because He's not going to let you know how long you have to be consistent, right? And so one thing that we notice, especially there's this homeless brother that we know downtown, right? When he was being consistent, he was coming out to hear us preach and stuff like that. He was in His Word. He was keeping the Sabbath day. Man, life was on the up and up. You know what I'm saying? He met this guy that employed him. Now the brother got a job. The guy that employed him said, "I need a way so I can contact you." So the guy gave him a phone, right? So he had a cell phone, and then the guy pulled some strings to get him a unit in one of the apartments downtown, right? But the brother, he slipped from his consistency because he was on the up and up. And what did we start to see? We started to see the brother lost everything one by one. First, he got his phone stolen from him, right? Then he started showing up late to his job, so he started getting paid less. He got kicked out of his apartment. Then he was back on the street, still trying to go to work, but life got hard. He got robbed a few times. Had to do some things that he didn't want to do. Next thing you know, the brother looks sick, like all the life's been drained from him.
He started drugs again. Then he got arrested because he got in a fight.
Right, man. Right. And then, he comes around now, and one thing I keep telling him is like, hey man, it can change for you again, but you gotta be consistent. You gotta stick with it. And that's what it takes, right? But this is Psalms 34:16.
Yeah, man. The elder used to bring a folding chair and sit next to us the whole camp. I'm talking about hours out there with us. And then yeah, man, returned to his own vomit. But
This is Psalms 34:16. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth.
Right. So, hey, man, this ain't just for the heathen. This for the Most High's kids as well. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, and He will cut us off from our inheritance if we don't keep our bargain. And He will make the remembrance of our nation no more. That's why people don't know who we are now, right? So this right here, it applies to anyone, any and everyone, right? This is the last passage I want to read 1-8 in the verse of Lamentations, chapter 1, verses 1-8. Salakia, Obadiah, if you could read this, it's going to be a lot of reading, but it's some good reading. And this is pretty much, what does it mean to lament, man? It means to
mourn, right?
Yeah, to mourn, to cry, right? What is lament? Is it a passionate expression of grief or sorrow, right? If you know anything about the book of Lamentations, it was written by Jeremiah. Jeremiah is right before the book of Lamentations. So Jeremiah was in his way, he was acting as like another version of Deuteronomy 28. He was telling the people what they need to do to be on God's good side, but the people ain't want to do that. So then God sent them into slavery to Babylon, and guess what happened? All hell broke loose. So then he had a deep passionate expression of grief and sorrow and wrote the book of Lamentations. And so this was the state of the nation at this time. And, you know, coincidentally, we're going through the same exact state today, right? We're here in modern mystery Babylon. They was in, you know, ancient Babylon. This is modern history, mystery Babylon. But we're going through the same thing. Lamentations 1:1.
Lamentations 1:1. How does a city sit solitary that was full of people? How will she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations and princess among the provinces. How will she become tributary?
Right? Talking about the nation of Israel. Jeremiah said, how is the nation of Israel without a husband, without a God? How has this happened? Let's read verse 2.
Verse 2. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies.
Right, man. Everybody we thought were friends, all these nations we thought were friends, they really for our downfall. That the East Indian that's saying, how's it going, buddy? I
Right.
haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Guess what? He just wants your money at his gas
Yeah.
station. He just wants you to keep coming back. The people that is feeding you cats and dogs at they Chinese and Asian restaurants, and they not even eating the food they selling you, they really hate you. They don't care if you get sick. You got food poisoning, you want to come back and you want to show them that, hey, this looks like a roach in my food. This looks like a rat in my food. They don't care about none of that, right? They you crazy. You lie. They speaking to you all different type of ways at the nail salon. You don't even know what they saying. You know, they become your enemies, right? It say that in Isaiah 30, it say that we go down to Egypt, but the Egyptians, they're gonna help. They're gonna try to help us to no effect. Like there's nothing that they can do to help us. Even if they march with us, ain't nothing gonna change our state of being because we the ones that, you know, went against our God, right?
It's a like it, King. That's a good point. That's a good point, man, because a lot of these nations, they act like they cool with us because we benefit, because they like we are making them money. The East Indian man wouldn't be like, oh, hey buddy, if we had our own businesses like Black Wall Street on the other side of town. You think he's still gonna be calling us buddy? Right? You think the Chinese people still gonna be smiling in our face? We walk into their hair salons or walk in getting our feet massaged and clean how they do? No, they're gonna become our enemies when they see that we start doing our own thing, or they gonna be our enemies, start being our enemies when they see that, like Lamentations, man, how we just completely just fail. Like, even though we in that situation now, but I'm saying, like, if you just think about our people, just say the entertainers, the music industry, the sports industry, everybody of us just fell down, and all of us would just, they have nothing. They'll turn on us the same way, man. So ain't nothing new under the sun.
Man, they're really enemies. But when the Bible say that you would be sold to your enemies, and we were sold all over this world, understand these people ain't your friend, man. If they were your friend for real, they would tell you who you are. They would help out your living situation. They would not keep you a slave in the working class, right? You know, they wouldn't benefit off of stuff that is harmful to you, right? If they were really your friend. Lamentations 1:3.
Lamentations 1:3. Judah is going into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits.
Right, man. So guess what? Not just the nation of Israel, but this time the Most High God sent Judah into captivity too. Why? Because Judah wanted to serve other nations. Judah wanted to be like other nations, right? We wanted to be like these nations, and now we find no rest. We wanted to adopt, the way of living of the heathen, and now we got to work 9 to 5s, right? The Most High God funny, right? He said, "Man, you want that? All right, all right. Hey, you want that? You want that overtime? You want all that? All right, all right." And so the Most High God gave it to us. Now we find no rest. And that's for some of you brothers that want to make it seem like you got to work on the Sabbath day, right? It'd be madness if y'all use this as a precept to what I'm saying, to work on the Sabbath day. It would be prophesied that we would find no rest. Nah, man. Nah, man. Right? Because if you read, in Babylon, the 3 Hebrew boys and Daniel, they still kept the commandments even in their servitude. But not all of us could be Daniel. Nah, brother, you're not gonna make it to the kingdom with that mindset. But nonetheless, verse 4.
Verse 4. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate, her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness.
Right, man. We stopped keeping the holy days, man. And we all bitter now. You bitter with your wife, bitter with your husband, bitter with your kids, bitter at your job, right? The only time that we not bitter is when we doing folly, right? When we doing folly, we might be doing drugs, we might be getting drunk, we might go play pickup basketball, we might go, do whatever. That's the only time we not bitter. We happy then. But life in general, all of us, we bitter. Because the Most High God took that sweetness out of our mouth, right? We don't go to the feast days no more. The feast days was implemented because when you read all the feast days, we say that they shall remember in joy and gladness of heart, right? God implemented these solemn feasts so that we would be happy on earth. So we wouldn't, always be in work mode and stressed out. He literally gave us these holy days and solemn feasts to be happy, but now we in bitterness because we rejected the holy days. We wanted to keep Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween, and we see where that's got in our nation, right? Verse 5.
Verse 5. Her adversaries are the chief. The enemies prosper, for the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy.
Right? Just telling you, the Most High God afflicted us. It wasn't no other nation. It wasn't no other people. It was the Most High God that afflicted us for our transgressions, aka breaking the covenant, aka not heeding to the importance of Deuteronomy 28. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And from the daughter of Zion, all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer. Pursuer.
Right, man. We are beautiful, but from a spiritual standpoint, from a successful standpoint, we are not a beautiful nation to look at, to uphold, right? Nobody wants to be us. And they want to be us, but they don't want to be us. Right?
Right.
Verse 7.
Verse 7. Jerusalem remember in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversaries saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths.
Right, man.
But they do none.
Right, man. We living in a time where they mock our Sabbaths. You don't really gotta work. What religion are you? Man, you just want to be off on Saturday, right? And we remember a time now after getting these scriptures, we remember a time where we were not afflicted, right? When we were surrounded by pleasant things, right? In the days of old, but now seems like it's far distance away. It's almost so distant. It seems like we got to ask ourselves, did it actually happen?
Right.
Now, this is the point in the last precept I got for tonight, verse 8.
Jerusalem hath grievously sinned. Therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yeah, she signeth and turneth backward.
Right, man. We turn back against the commandments and the covenant. So it says we grievously sinned. Therefore, we were what? Our nation has been removed, man. We've been removed because we did not take heed to the importance of Deuteronomy 28. We forgot who we were. And because we forgot who we were, we forgot what we were supposed to be doing. And because we forgot who we were and what we were supposed to be doing, we didn't reap the benefits of what we were supposed to be doing. And because we didn't reap the benefits of what we were supposed to be doing, we cleaved on to something else that gave us the opposite of what we wanted, right? And so that's why it's important to take heed to Deuteronomy 28. That's why it's important to keep teaching Deuteronomy 28 to people that don't know it. Because it's gonna, just like it changed your life, it's gonna change somebody else's life. And somebody else's life. And somebody else's life. That's why it was written. That's why it was prophesied. Deuteronomy 28 is a prophecy, right? So that's all I got, man. Freestyle Friday. You know, Most High will, we're on tomorrow, and we'll be downtown Macon as well, bringing out the word till sunset. And Lord, if the Lord see fit to go past sunset because we're in a good conversation with somebody, then so be it. So come ask your questions, come fellowship. We'll be down there. Hopefully we get down there around 6 o'clock. But Khan, man, we're the hopeful elect. As our big brother Christ said, if we're not gathering God's people, we scattering God's people. And so with that, we say Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, peace.
Shalom.
Shalom.